Hey everybody, it's me, mannarino, Hawaii today. It is Wednesday, August 19th, 2015. Friends, before I even get started, let me just say this. This particular video that I'm about to do may be the most important that I have ever done. I'm going to cover some very important things here. A cascade of events are occurring which we need to talk about, and it's being backed up by some pretty lofty people out here. Let's start with this. For years now, I have been out here talking about the dangers posed by this global debt bubble that we are in here right now. It is an insurmountable issue, which is not just a financial problem. This is a resource issue, people, a resource problem. The debt-based economic model that we currently have, all of the world's developed nations have adopted, demands that debt be borrowed into existence in perpetuity. It can never, ever stop. This is why we have this gargantuan bubble in debt, which is going to swallow the earth beyond any shadow of any doubt. Now, I have put this into the perspective that this is the greatest threat to humankind, bar none. Bar none. Why? Because this is not just a financial problem. This is a resource issue. And when this debt bubble bursts, and it is going to burst, it is a mathematical certainty, we are going to have a mass loss of human life on a global scale that is going to be biblical. Biblical. Now, this is where this gets very, very interesting. We heard from none other than Federal Reserve Chairperson, former Chairperson, Alan Greenspan. Alan Greenspan himself is coming out warning of this debt bubble. I think he's a little bit behind the curve, or there's something else going on here. Understand, these types of people cannot just come out and say these things. And there's a reason for that. They can start a global panic, but the reason why most people are going to disregard this because they do not understand the correlation between the debt and the human population on Earth. There is a direct correlation here, people. Look it up for yourselves. And we have borrowed cash from the future to sustain the now. We have seen a population boom rise in tandem with the debt. And when the debt bubble bursts, we're going to get a correction in human life as well. This is a mathematical certainty. This is going to happen. Now, again, we have former Federal Reserve Chairperson Alan Greenspan warning of a debt bubble. So what is that telling us? It's going to burst, people. We know one thing about these kinds of bubbles, and I've gone over it a million times, but I'll reiterate here. Every single one of these bubbles has burst throughout history without exception. Why? Because they rise above a level that can be sustained by any means. We have runaway world central banks who continue to find reasons, including starting wars, to keep borrowing cash into existence, to keep the bubble suspended. Understand why? Because the ramifications of this bubble bursting are too terrible to contemplate. Again, it's a human resource issue, so that means a human life issue. You understand? Okay. So, despite the fact that former Fed chairperson Alan Greenspan is coming out warning now of a debt bubble, I'm going to place links to his article right down here in the description of this video, and in the comment section. It's getting almost no media coverage. And again, the silence of it all is deafening. You understand? So, there have been many people throughout the years, and I've been out here warning about this debt problem, how it's a resource issue, before anyone else on earth, I believe, analysts started coming out. I believe I have the loudest voice out here trying to forewarn people of what is going to come. Now, all of us, you out there who have been with me for years, you're probably taking a lot of heat about this concept of the debt bubble. I've taken a lot of heat about it. I've had entire channels out there by people who have no concept of this, trying to downplay me personally and this concept. Now, we have all been vindicated. Vindicated when you have someone like Alan Greenspan coming out warning about this debt bubble. Now, why this carries so much weight, not just because this guy is a former Federal Reserve chair, is this, and I want to bring this to light with regard to Mr. Greenspan. That is this. Right at the top of the housing bubble, the 2008 event, Alan Greenspan was warning of it. He had said specifically that the housing market looked frothy. He repeated that over and over again. Everyone laughed about it. They laughed him off. They blew him off. They didn't believe it. And we understand what happened. It turned into the event of our lifetimes, the housing bubble bursting, the credit bubble bursting. We've seen how desperate world central banks have gotten to reinflate these bubbles again, because it's the mechanism of the system, people, the mechanism of the system. Just yesterday, we heard from Federal Reserve Vice President Stephen Williamson, who was talking about how quantitative easing didn't work. It was a failure. It did nothing to help the economy. All it did was inflate a stock market bubble. What he's trying to say as well is inflated a debt bubble. He didn't say that, but that's the truth. That's what has boosted stocks here. So understand, we are at a critical juncture right now, in my opinion, when you have someone like Alan Greenspan now warning about this debt bubble, something I've been talking about for years now. If you follow this blog, you know that I am not pulling this out of thin air. This is a fact. I've written articles about this. I've been interviewed about it hundreds and hundreds of times, taken a lot of flack for it. Well, now all these people out there have another target, it's called, and his name is Alan Greenspan. So let's see all these naysayers try to disprove a former Federal Reserve chair. So we're starting to see a pattern here. We have Alan Greenspan coming out warning about this debt bubble now. Yesterday we had the Federal Reserve a vice chairperson come out talking about how QE has not worked. So you can see where this is all going, people. It is really incredible and dangerous. And again, understand the ramifications of what Alan Greenspan is saying here. When the debt bubble bursts, resources will not be available because we can't borrow that cash from the future anymore. Millions of people globally are going to die. This is no secret to our government, who has been preparing for this for many, many years. This is why we are number one nation under surveillance. They realize where this is going. Number two, why they want to confiscate weapons. There is going to be pandemonium in the streets right in front of your house, even if you live in Beverly Hills here in the United States. I don't care where you live. This is a problem where there's zombies out there who have been brainwashed to believe that everything is okay. They're going to wake up and rise up. And we're starting to see this already. The world will become Baltimore when this whole thing unfolds. Let me just talk about a few other things that are occurring here. I wrote an article just yesterday on Seeking Alpha, talking about where this market looked like it was going to be headed today, and I was spot on again. I made money here while everyone else is losing cash here. And for all of you out there that got in on those trades, congratulations once again. Check out my Seeking Alpha blog if you have not seen that. So really, people, what I wanted you all to understand is we are now, beyond any doubt, when you have Alan Greenspan coming out here now warning of this debt bubble issue, I think there's a credibility issue developing here. The Federal Reserve minutes that came out today, again, reiterated what I've been saying for a long time. The Federal Reserve cannot raise rates. They won't raise rates here again. Why? It's the mechanism of the system. And when a central bank gets so desperate that they have to institute quantitative easing to keep everything propped up, it can never stop. And despite the fact, and I've been over this many times, that the Federal Reserve has stated publicly that they have stopped quantitative easing, they have never, ever stopped quantitative easing. And how do we know that's true? We can see this. We can actually see this several ways. It's no secret that since at least 2012, the Federal Reserve has been requiring the banks, the commercial banks, to buy debt. In other words, instead of inflating their balance sheet anymore, they're inflating the bank's balance sheet with debt, a toxic asset that can never be paid back. And if you have your cash in one of these commercial banks, you're being exposed to it. So you can imagine what's going to happen to your cash when all of this melts down. So that is number one here. Number two, how else can we tell that the Federal Reserve is still buying bonds? Just look at the interest rates, people. The Federal Reserve cannot just come out and say they're going to keep interest rates low. They have to get into the market and make it happen. That means they're buying bonds. You got it? This is very simple stuff here, but most people haven't the slightest clue, and I mean zero, of how this whole thing works. But if you follow this blog, you've been following my work all these years, I'd be willing to bet that you're among the most educated in the world. That's the truth with regard to how the financial system actually works. And people, again, all of us who've been warning about this debt bubble, and a lot of you are on my team, I know have been trying to get the word out. We've all been vindicated here by Alan Greenspan himself. Look, I know this video has been awfully long-winded here, and I'm going to place a link to that article with regard to Alan Greenspan in the comment section here and in the description of this video. Please share this video. It is critical. I'm calling on every single one of you who follow me, and there are thousands, tens of thousands all over the world. We got to get this out. We have to let people understand that we are at a tipping point here. And it's critical. It's absolutely freaking critical. Let's do it, everyone. All right, I'm counting on you. Let's get this out there. Let's let our voices be heard, because I really feel that we're on the precipice of something very, very big. I'll see you soon. Over now.